Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. I will greet everyone as you come in after I do the review. Welcome to my live on my Married to Medicine. This is episode Trouble on the Sandbar. This is Married to Medicine. Excuse the low light in the room. I'm trying not to get a headache. So this is season 11, and season 11, episode 11, Married to Medicine, Trouble in the Sandbar. And I'll greet everyone after I've done the live review. Thank you for stopping in. And we are going to open up from last week. They're still on Key West. We're still on vacation. And I want to make sure I'm live, make sure the sound is okay. I'm just going to check really quickly. Okay, it looks like I am live. So we are still in Key West. Still down in Key West on the trip, the couples trip. Welcome in, Linda Gamble. Thank you so much. I appreciate you checking the sound for me. Thank you so much. So we're on the couples trip. This is the live Married to Medicine review. And they check in with all the couples as they do every episode. In the initial beginning, we don't see Dr. Damon. We don't see Drs. Damon and Heavenly or Curtis and Dr. Jackie. But we are checking in with, I would say, Steve and Mimi. They're my favorite couple this season. They're a really cute couple. We see Quad and King are talking about the events of last night where Quad and Sweet Tea and Dr. G were getting into it, ended up with Dr. G walking off. Separately, we see Dr. G and Sweet Tea talking about their version of events. Dr. G is apologizing to Sweet Tea, trying to explain himself, trying to let her know why he got so upset. He didn't appreciate Quad giving a smart remark about she thinks that their relationship, she approves of their relationship, and then the other things that she was saying to them, and that is what made him so upset. And he said that it is a part of the big age gap they have in their marriage. The camera kind of zooms in on Sweet Tea. She's rolling her eyes a little bit. And Dr. G is right. There is an age gap. He said, I'm expecting you to act so mature and act in a way that you're not. And Sweet Tea said, that's right, I'm not. She said that she can get loud if she needs to defend herself, defend Dr. G. I agree with Sweet Tea on that. So when we see Drs. Heavenly, Jackie, and Simone, Dr. Heavenly's getting her makeup done. Simone comes in. Simone's looking really cute in her vacation outfit. They compliment her. Dr. Jackie is a sneak, y'all. She's looking kind of, fishy-eyed, like she don't really know what's going on. Dr. Heavenly says that she wasn't really responsible for last night. Dr. Simone is still tiptoeing around Dr. Heavenly. She lies and said the questions were not messy. That part was not her fault. People were just going to get into it because of their past relationships and things like that. The questions were messy. Some of the sex questions were messy. The questions about when did this couple, did you do this? Did you do that? You knew there was going to be comparison. You knew people were going to be upset, and it was supposed to be a pool party. And actually it was brought up when two of the couples were talking at the beginning. Let me go back. Dr. Scott and Dr. Contessa pointed out that nobody was even in bathing suits. And then Dr. Contessa said, yeah, a few of us were in bathing suits because I noticed it too, that Contessa had on a cute bathing suit and her coverall. Dr. Scott said, no, T had on a bathing suit. Sweet Tea is noticeable in her bathing suit. Sweet Tea is built. She's a younger woman. So compared to the other women, she's beautiful anyway, but Sweet Tea was wearing her bathing suit. She had a coverall on too. Quad had on a bathing suit, but some of them never intended to get into a pool. So that was something that came up when the couples were checking in with each other. But Dr. Jackie is going to sit here and act like she doesn't know that Dr. Heavenly is the reason for a lot of this strife that happened the night before. Excuse the noise. I think somebody's doing something with their grass, and it's really too early for anything to be. I mean, it's noon here. I'm still dressed for bed, and I have a low light because I'm trying not to get a headache. But for any type lawn work, I mean, it's early in the season because it's really cold here. So excuse that if you can hear it. So Dr. Simone's trying to soothe Dr. Heavenly and assure her that she's not the reason anything happened. Confessional Heavenly lies. She says that she invited Apollo to be an example on how to get along with the ex. And then they flash back to the last reunion where Apollo is sitting behind Phaedra because they were looking for him all season. So Phaedra pulls him out at the reunion. As people said, they say Phaedra doesn't do anything, but I don't know what they want her to do. She's not friends with these ladies, as we're going to see during the course of this episode. She would be a fool to spill her personal business to this among this particular group of ladies. So I agree with Phaedra Parks. These ladies are not her friends. She can Lord Jesus and all that, and don't tell these ladies anything about your business, Phaedra Parks. You did it right. And she didn't go to the reunion. We'll talk about that too. So Heavenly's lying in the confessional that she just invited Apollo out of the kindness of her heart so he can be an example to Sweet Tea and Greg and Quad and King on how to act with an ex. That's not true. She says Phaedra knows that she invited her. Dr. Heavenly did tell Phaedra, I've invited Apollo. She didn't say, is that okay? She did say she invited him. Phaedra hummed and hawed. She pretended that it wasn't that big a deal. But if Dr. Heavenly was a friend, or if she was a person with a kind heart, she would know that you would not want someone to feel uncomfortable on vacation. I don't know why Apollo was invited. He's not married to Medicine. He's not close friends with anybody there. He's invited to cause conflict. And that's why Dr. Heavenly invited him. She put a producer hat on. I think this blew up in her face, y'all. I hope it did. I hope Bravo Andy stops letting Dr. Heavenly produce. And she's on her quest to prove Mariah Huq's point that she was going to drive this show to the gutter. It's the gutter. Toward the end, it was looking like Love and Hip Hop, but at least they're honest about what it is. I'm disgusted with the way this episode went, y'all. It was a good episode. It was a beautiful location. Everybody looked so nice. The standouts, I'm going to say again, Dr. Steve, Dr. Mimi, they even had a scene. I'm going to go back to a scene. They went to lunch with Drs. Eugene and with LaToya. And they pointed out to, when they got in the van, Toya starts focusing on Dr. Steve. You know how Toya's doing. She's the bone carrier this season. She's asking Steve all this question. And we get to find out about Steve, that he's from Ohio. His mother had 3 sons. She raised 3 boys by herself. She never married their father. And that he is a success story in his town. I don't know if he said Cleveland or Cincinnati or a smaller Ohio town, but he is known. He's been on 3 different professional NFL teams. He's retired. He became a doctor after that. So he's very successful. Dr. Mimi is so cute. She's a Southern Belle. She says she's from Alabama. We see her in her little Alabama uniform. She was a dancer in college, but she's not athletic. Steve says that they have 2 children. The athletics are going to come from him, but both of them are really smart. They were pushing Toya about, when you brought up that question, we couldn't believe it. And Toya was like, I didn't do anything. I was just, trying to smooth everything. And they were like, no, you threw a match. What Toya did was, as the questions went on and Dr. G became more and more uncomfortable, Toya was kind of throwing a line to Quad, like, get him. What Toya said was, oh, but Quad, you don't feel bad saying all this stuff, and your ex-husband is sitting right behind you? She was trying to embarrass Sweet Tea, and she was trying to embarrass Dr. G. And the 2 of them were already embarrassed. They were trying to be good sports. I think Letitia especially tries to be a good sport, but this has become such a nasty group. It's really disappointing, y'all. But I'll go back to Heavenly getting her wig done. She's getting her wig done, okay? She wasn't getting her hair done. The guy was fixing her wig. Her makeup looked nice. What she had on looked okay. So they get there. They're going to go to a sandbar that day. Dr. Simone is hosting the trip. They get there to the sandbar, and Dr. Heavenly gets on her phone, y'all. She is afraid that Apollo's going to miss the trip. She calls him. He said, I'm on my way. Y'all got to wait for me. So now we know that Heavenly is up to mischief. So the camera pans in on Apollo, because Bravo Andy and Bravo loves Apollo, even though he has no attachment now to this show. They love Apollo. The camera pans in on Apollo. It widens, and we see Shireen. Now, Shireen, we heard her say that she's not going. Dr. Heavenly asked Apollo. Shireen was not supposed to be going, but that's his wife. She could have said, well, you going down to Key West? Oh, and Phaedra's going to be there? Because we know there's still, Apollo got something in his eyes toward Phaedra. I don't know if he's trying to spin the block or what. We'll talk about, there's news out about Apollo and Shireen, that they are splitting up, that it's been terrible between the 2 of them. We find out during this episode how, but we'll get into that. So they say Phaedra knows that Apollo is coming. They wait. Shireen and Apollo get on the boat. So Dr. Contessa is talking to Shake, Dr. Contessa and Scott is talking to Shake and Phaedra, trying to find out if they're okay that Apollo and Shireen got on the boat. And Phaedra is like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. Shake asked Phaedra if she needs a drink. No, okay, I'm okay. I don't need a drink. Dr. Jackie doesn't drink. Somebody pours Curtis 2 shots for Dr. Jackie. She told Curtis to slow down. So I don't know what kind of drunk Curtis is. I haven't seen Curtis be mean or messy or any of that stuff. Dr. Curtis, are you a flirty type drunk? He is. There's a season where he pulled Toya down on his lap during a couples trip. He pulled Toya on his lap during a couples trip, and Dr. Jackie got mad at Toya. Okay, so Dr. Curtis is big, but Dr. Jackie restricts him to, it looks like, these 2 shots. Okay, I got it now. And then on the other side of the boat, Quad is over with Heavenly, and they are they're kind of asking a bunch of questions to Apollo. They want to find out from Apollo whether or not he knew Shake, because when they get on the boat, Shireen greets Shake with a very warm hug. She greeted him warmly, and she was doing a lot. Shireen was really trying to be seen, really trying to show bravo. I'm here. I'll do scenes if I'm needed. Shireen, we don't need you. I don't like the fact that these 2 came on this show to do this to Phaedra. Phaedra's let Apollo film. She's let him get a little check for picking up the boys, that sort of thing. But to come here with his wife at the invite of Dr. Heavenly and try to cause a problem on this woman's job, even though she's no longer there, and I'm glad, I don't like them doing that. So the other couples are talking to Apollo and his wife, Shireen. Dr. Eugene is messy. Dr. Eugene makes me laugh. He gets next to Dr. Simone and he said, you in charge of this trip? She said, yeah. He said, we got some stowaways. They start laughing. So everybody knows what's getting ready to go down. So the yacht was pretty nice. When they got on, it looked like Dr. Simone had put up where everybody's going to have their own little personal goblet that they'll be drinking out of and that sort of thing. So, and another thing I'll talk about, when these trips used to happen, they used to go down and do missions. I don't know if I think it was Dominican Republic. They went to the Bahamas. They go places like that and they would do things. This is totally different. And I'm glad that they can get out together and they can have a vacation and enjoy each other. But the whole thing that's going on now, I don't love. So Phaedra's telling the boat the whole story about when they asked her whether or not she knew Shireen as they were coming to the boat. Phaedra's letting them know this is the woman. They flash back to the reunion first. Phaedra says she will never have a relationship with Shireen. We find out that Shireen was cheating with Apollo when he was married to Phaedra, and she was pregnant with the beautiful Mr. President, Phaedra's and Apollo's youngest son. We find that out, which is terrible. Quad is in her confessional gloating. Quad, why are you gloating? Phaedra wasn't even on the show when they brought your ex on. But Phaedra's in her confessional saying, oh, Phaedra, she said, it doesn't feel that nice now that you have an ex here. Dr. Heavenly's in her confessional pretending that she doesn't think anything's going to jump off. And if it does, it's not her fault. Dr. Simone has said, this is the messiest ish that Dr. Heavenly has ever done. Dr. Simone, we thank you for being honest. Dr. Jackie says she hoped there's not a problem or anything happens. But everybody knows something's going to happen. Sweet Tea wants to know who else X is going to show up. That's kind of messed up. She said the games have just begun or something like that. Dr. G just looks disturbed. And Toya asked Eugene, do he have any exes that are going to show up? Eugene's like, not that I know of. So Apollo is on the boat actually complaining. He's complaining to Quad and Heavenly that Shaq is his friend, and he feels like it's kind of dirty that Phaedra's got him on this trip. Phaedra's over there sitting on this man's lap. And Apollo can't keep his eyes from over there. Shireen's kind of mad. And I don't know, Shireen, why are you upset? This is your husband. You followed him down there on this trip. So I don't know why Shireen's upset, but Shireen is very intimidated by Phaedra. So they've been divorced 7 years, but Apollo's having this loud conversation that he talked to Shake and he doesn't think it's right that he's there with his wife. Well, no, he didn't say his wife. Let me not say that. Phaedra's his ex-wife. He doesn't think it's fair that a friend of theirs would actually be there with someone he used to be married to. And also, Toya brings out that they have had Thanksgiving dinner with Shake. Shake really knows them. They're friends. They're together weekly. So that's kind of messy. But, and Heavenly keeps saying, if you had known that, what, Heavenly? You're still going to invite him. So Contessa and Sweet Tea are talking to Phaedra and Shake. There's 2 sides of the boat now because of what Heavenly done. So they get to the sandbar. Toya is enjoying the vacation. She said that this is the way that she loves the vacation. They show her in a confessional saying that she looks real pretty. Her and Eugene are talking about, they like this vacation. Then they flash back to the boat, and when they land, Toya's trying to get off the boat, and she falls in the water. I don't know if production likes Toya this season. They showing her in a lot of compromising type positions that don't look good for her. She falls in the water drunk. Cecil has to help get her up. So at the sandbar, the colorful short sets, a couple of men have those on. Cecil wore his. I think he liked the one that Steve had on, even though he probably packed it anyway. Of course, he had to pack it. He wore it. So they both had those colorful short sets on. But we're going to see that the person running down the beach ends up being Dr. Steve. Because as the women are together in the water, Sweet Tea is trying to get to the bottom of how did Shireen get invited on the trip? So they're talking about the fact that Heavenly invited him on the trip, and Sweet Tea asked Dr. Heavenly, why did you invite Apollo? Why did you invite Shireen? Which is the question that everybody wants to know. The audience does want to know that question. But since Bravo is letting Heavenly be the secret producer, Dr. Heavenly starts cursing out Sweet Tea. B, don't question me. B, you can't question me. You can't ask me nothing. She cussed Sweet Tea out like a dog. So Sweet Tea's tired of it. She goes right next to Heavenly, and she gets in her face and she lets her know, you don't be cussing me out. And they start really getting into it. So Dr. Greg comes over there, and Dr. Greg, he's trying to soothe his wife. Stop, this is enough. He takes Sweet Tea away because Sweet Tea has had enough. And she wasn't out of line. Toya, Dr. Simone, they think Sweet Tea is out of line. In their confessional, Toya's going, ooh. And I don't know why she's disgusted. If Toya is disgusted by Sweet Tea, she needs to be disgusted by her friend Heavenly. I think Toya is just glad that Heavenly is not fixed her sights on her this season. That's got to be what it is. Dr. Jackie, she's still not saying enough as far as I'm concerned. So Dr. Greg is walking Sweet Tea away from this altercation with Heavenly, who starts cussing. And then Dr. Heavenly act like she was going to jump up, and her drunk butt falls back in the water. Dr. Contessa was filming, the scenery, different things. And because her and Dr. Scott travel a lot. Production showed that too. And she said, I'm holding a $3,000 camera. I can't break y'all up. And I'm glad I'm not in the middle of it. So after that happens, Dr. King walks up to Dr. Greg. I left out a whole scene. The men, while the women were first having that discussion, the men were together. They were joking about they're going to pull their shirts off. King already have his shirt half open. Shake walks around with his shirt open. Dr. Eugene's like, I'm just here to relax. I'm not getting up. He's sitting down. Dr. Curtis is not Dr. Curtis, just Curtis. He's married to Dr. Jackie. He's not getting up. They're sitting there relaxing. The younger men, Steve wants to start throwing the ball down the beach because Apollo had him run down his background, and Steve let him know I was in the NFL. I was with 3 different teams, this and that. So the men were getting a little bit competitive. They had Dr. Eugene. Dr. Eugene is sitting there. Dr. G, he jumps up. They challenge him to 25 push-ups. This man started doing 25 push-ups. And after each one, he says his wife's name, Letitia. And it was kind of silly, y'all. It was kind of, Dr. Steve even said in his confessional, that was fun, but next time don't make it weird. And it was kind of weird. Dr. G, you don't have to prove anything to us. I think he loves Sweet Tea, but I do think he feels a sense of regret over what happened with Quad, how it played out so publicly, and the fact that Quad does still speak negatively about this man. And she was no angel in the relationship. I don't like any type of marital violence, domestic violence, none of that. I don't agree with that at all. But it doesn't always have to be the man. I think they both admitted to putting hands on each other. Quad has admitted that she pulled a knife on him, that Dr. G had her down, and that sort of thing. So I don't know why she's still speaking negatively of him. And this man they've divorced each other. He's remarried. She claims she's so happy, even though now they say her and King is split up. So I don't know. But that there were 2 separate scenes between the men together and then the women. When the women scenes started getting loud, Dr. Steve ears perked up and he said, what's going on down there? Because I don't play about that one. He started running down the beach. That was what we saw in the preview, running down the beach to check on Dr. Mimi, who's little and who's not a fighter and has 2 small toddlers at home. So good job, Dr. Steve. I agree with you. Don't let these crazy women fight your wife. But Dr. Hep, because they are going to turn their sights. Dr. Hemley going to turn her sights. If she's still there, she's going to start on Dr. Mimi. Because when they had the younger dentist, Dr. Audra and Dr. Alicia, Dr. Heavenly was picking at Dr. Alicia, talking about her finances with her husband. Toya was the one picking at Audra, but Dr. Steve, good job. He went down there to check on Dr. Mimi, and it was just Heavenly and Sweet Tea getting loud. Dr. Heavenly tried to jump up, her drunk butt falls back in the water. So then King, as Dr. Greg trying to soothe Sweet Tea and kind of calm her down, and he's doing a good job of it, they're walking away. King realized he missing his moment, and he goes, now is the perfect time to have a conversation with you about this, that, and the other, because I wanted to know what was going on. And Dr. G was saying, I don't have a problem with Quad. I was saying that, she needed to shut the F up, or she talked too much or something like that, he said. And everything was still cool until Dr. G said one more thing too much. And so that's why I told her to shut her big A mouth or something like that. And King did not know that he said that to Quad, because King, if we remember, King was face forward and he was also, fixated on Quad, but Quad was the one turned around in her seat, provoking Sweet Tea and Dr. Greg. So that is what happened during that other scene. So King and Dr. Greg start to get into it. King tell Dr. Greg, don't say nothing to her. If you have a problem with her, you can say it to me. Dr. G said, on both sides, I don't have to say anything to her. She doesn't have to say anything to me. King's like, she can say whatever she wants. Dr. G said, that don't even make sense. And I have to agree with Dr. G on that. So they start getting louder. And then Dr. G said, he's a doctor. He ain't going to fight nobody. And King is like, it's not about fighting. And Dr. G asked him who he talking to. And King said, I'm talking to you, MFer. And then they start kind of advancing on each other, which looks like King being more the aggressor because he's younger and bigger. And I think Dr. G, he was like chirping for his friends, but I don't think he wanted a physical altercation. And we found out later when they got back to Atlanta, Dr. G might have filed some paperwork where he can't actually film with him. So that's where it ended. This was and I apologize for speaking that long. I just wanted to make sure I got the whole episode out of the way before I greet it and then start speaking to everybody. Thank you for everyone that came in while I was doing the review. I appreciate my moderator, Linda Gamble, Mama Bees, everyone that came in, Sharon Gobbolt, CC, thank you so much. Everyone that's in here. I'm going to read a couple of the comments just to see if I left anything out of the episode. So this is going to be a really good episode going forward. Now we know as far as the reunion, Dr. Heavenly had issued kind of like a threat to Sweet Tea. And when Phaedra gets to this reunion, she better be ready. Don't lie on me, Phaedra. Don't lie on me, Sweet Tea. Now we know Phaedra did not go to the reunion. Look at Sweet Tea. I have to finish watching it, but Sweet Tea has a nice YouTube page, y'all. She's doing a good job over there. She takes us behind the scenes with her to New York. I haven't finished watching it, but she said she spoke to Phaedra and she didn't think Phaedra was going anyway. Then when they put the seating chart out, we see Phaedra didn't go. And then also in the preview, we see that Phaedra has left the trip. Apollo and Shireen have also left the trip. So, which that wasn't really their trip anyway. Sharon Gabo says, Dr. Jackie is just as miserable as Heavenly. She is. And Mama B says that the sitting was messy. The whole situation is messy. I agree. And Mama B says, why would he be concerned? They are not married. Apollo does still have his eye on Phaedra. He's one of those men who feels like since he was married to her and he has 2 children with her, he always has a say so in whatever she does. But that is a single woman. She's been divorced for 7 years. She is single. And she's a young woman. And she's playing with Shakes. Phaedra not trying to jump into no marriage. They asked Shake on the boat, are you looking for a wife? He said, well, I'm open to it. I bet he is. He see Phaedra working all them jobs and Phaedra's still looking good. And the boys are big enough where he don't really have to do anything for them other than boy type stuff. Dr. Scott made a funny joke. Dr. Contessa said, he's young. And Dr. Scott said, I know he played Fortnite with Landon. Shake might be in his 20s, y'all. Or he might be right at 30. They have a young son. They were laughing about that. Sharon Garbo said, I was so proud of Sweet Tea for getting in Heavenly's face. I was too, Sharon Garbo. When she started cussing this lady out like this, they talk to Sweet Tea like she's a little baby or something. This woman is in her 30s. You'll see her on her, if you go over to her YouTube page, she's working. So she has set up, they have a nice hotel room. She said, Greg coming in tomorrow, which is Wednesday. She has set up, she said she have a double swing for her job. She's still a federal worker. Shout out to the federal workers. I'm getting so concerned for y'all, because I don't know what's going to happen with that. And this fool in addition to him giving these buyout offers, with I don't trust it, yeah, I don't trust it. He's also firing people that they're having to call back immediately. But Sweet Tea is a federal worker. She had set up her area and had her 2 computer screens, and then she was also doing her YouTube, and the people came in to do her hair and makeup, and she looked beautiful. But I was proud of her too. Sharon Garbo said, when Evil Heavenly fell in that water, I loved it. She needed a baptism anyway. Didn't she need one? And Dr. Damon ain't saying nothing to Buddy. But we know how Dr. Damon is. He doesn't mind. He finally pulled her back during the supposedly the pool party question session, or as Dr. Scott said, hot seat session. He finally said, don't get involved in that. But I don't see him saying anything to her. And who are these people? Why do they believe, even if you go on the sites and you look at it, they go, Sweet Tea shouldn't even be talking to Dr. Heavenly, this and that. Like Heavenly is above Sweet Tea or something. They're all main cast. Anybody can talk to anybody else. And Dr. Heavenly recruited this lady to be on the show. I'm going to keep bringing that up. Hey, Cece. Cece spoke to everyone when she came in. Hey, Sandra P's GenXtra and Mama B's and everyone. Linda Gamble. Sharon Gobble said, Heavenly is definitely coming for Dr. Mimi. Yeah, and I hate to see it. Her husband's standing right by her side, and I don't think the husband's wanting any smoke with him. So they better come correctly if they're going to come at Dr. Mimi. But they have, I think Dr. Heavenly has kind of overstepped now that Phaedra didn't go to the reunion. I don't think that Bravo Andy, one of the crazy fans were online. How dare she not go? Anybody else will get in trouble for that. You don't like the lady. You're always trying to set her up. You tried to set her up on this vacation, and now she decided she didn't go to the reunion. So to me, that's Dr. Heavenly's fault, and Dr. Simone for being silent about it, laughing about it, and Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie kind of relishes that kind of mess so that people don't focus on her and Curtis. Mama B says, if you are expecting a tax refund, I suggest you file sooner than later. They're firing 100,000 IRS agents. Ooh, Mama B, thank you for saying that. Oh, this is for everything is alleged, and in my opinion, and under the Copyright Act, Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107. That was for my review, and then for just my political comments. But yeah, for the IRS, and I have a complicated return this year. I have some small business income that I had come in as well to my W-2 income. I could always do, so I'm getting concerned. This is just a mess. Did you see that little boy, that little ex in the office putting his boogers on the desk and told the president, I want you to shush. You're not the real president. You get out of that seat. And he's little. He's like 4. You know he heard his father say that. And Republicans sitting there like a doo-doo-doo. They're not worried. I'm looking at him. I'm trying not to be concerned because my anxiety gets stirred up. But when that little boy said that, oh my goodness, he's one of those, and especially probably being a billionaire's child, who disciplines him? Even if you work for him as a nanny or something, you can't, what you gonna do to that little boy? Nothing. He can say what he wanna say. I agree with him on that though. I want Donald Trump to shush too. And I don't think he's president either. But that's allegedly, and in my opinion, I'm gonna stay on the Married to Medicine review. That's good advice though. Everybody who can, file your taxes as soon as you can, because we don't know how many people are still gonna be there to work on them. And I have 2 people in the family, 2 children actually, that need to finish to get their passports. And we have to appear with them because they're minors. And we couldn't get an appointment until the first week in April. And we went to a passport acceptance center that generally takes walk-ins, and you get your paperwork in the same day, you get them back within 2 weeks, not even paying an expedited fee. That's a thing of the past. We tried that over a week ago. It didn't happen. So anything you need to get done, get done. Sharon Gabo is laughing out of the mouths of babes. He told the truth though. Sharon Gabo, I had to agree with him. That little weird little kid, he said it too. I said, oh my goodness, listen to this. And they said it was a hot mic. I don't think it's a hot mic. I think there's always a hot mic if the president's around. And Donald Trump just sat on that desk with Elon standing over him. He states, that man talks nonsense. I don't know a thing he's talking about. And he's not that smart. He's just a billionaire. He buys companies that other people have already put into play and made profitable. And then he piggybacks off that. And he's from apartheid era South Africa. That's something people should be really concerned about. But everybody's just blind to it. And actually, this is lunchtime, so there's a lot of lives I want to get in on. I'm right at the 30-minute mark. So thank everyone that came in. Thank everyone that was in the bushes. that liked the video. I have 7 likes, and there's a couple people left in here. So I thank you all for stopping by Sandra P's GenXtra. Thank you so much for staying here with me for my Married to Medicine review and a couple of little political comments. Thank you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in these YouTube streets. Thank you. Goodbye.